Salut à tous, comment allez-vous? J'espère que vous êtes tous en bonne santé. Aujourd'hui, je présenterai communication d'entreprise et les résultats statistiques. Comme la plupart des spectateurs parlent anglais, j'aimerais aussi parler anglais. Well, good morning, everybody. Today, I'm going to present a special topic on corporate communication, and specifically we are going to talk about networking and tourism corporate communication, the amalgamation of theories. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have to realize that corporate communication and tourism networking is actually consisting of several theories, and they are engaging together, become one subject and one theories. And we call this new theoretical amalgamation, corporate communication, and tourism networking. And I could say to you that there are at least 5 theories that engaging together to develop the theory of corporate communication. The first one is the communication theory. So this is very important one. This is the dominant one because when we are talking about corporate communication, we are talking about the principle of communication theory. And then the other one, we have to ask, who are we communicate with? We are communicating with the stakeholders. So the theory of the stakeholders is also very important. And then, of course, I have said in my previous video that corporate communication is a management function. So we have to deal with the management theory as well. And of course, you have to be a leader in communication. A leadership theory is also engaging in this new structure of the scientific theory. And then, of course, networking. Because when we are talking about tourism is a complete set of networking, and you cannot be working by yourself. When we are talking about corporate communication and networking, then we are going to talk about theoretical aspect and also professional aspect. And we are talking about theoretical aspect because corporate communication has been designed as a concept, and the concept has been validated, and it's become a theory that is called corporate communication theory. And how we can test that something is called a theory? It has to be testable, it has to be replicable. It means that a theory is consistent and constant, and it can be replicated to another context or to another set of data. And it has to be stable, and it has to be simple, and it has to be consistent. And then how we can test that corporate communication is actually a practical or empirical aspect. We call it professional, because is it practical, empirical, and of course pragmatic, applicable, and occupational. I say that it is occupational because there is an occupation called corporate communication manager. So you could be a manager of corporate communication. When we are talking about the theory of management, so this theory of management is quite important to discuss in corporate communication, because when you are designing a plans of communication, you are starting from the managerial aspect. For example, you are planning the communication, and then you are staffing. When you are staffing the communication, who are going to do what, and who are they are responsible for. So all of this is actually about management. And then you are going to execute the plan, and then monitoring and evaluation. So all of this using the principle of the management. The theory of management is quite dominant, as corporate communication is actually the function of the management or the tool of the management. And then when we are talking about the communication, the theory of communication, at first it was quite simple. Yeah, the first one, you have a resource of the information, and then you have the sender of the message, and the message will be decoded, and it has to be transferred through a channel. And what channel? It depends what channel you are selecting. Could be printed channel, could be electronic channel, and could be also oral channel. So it depends who are your audience when you are communicating. So when this message transmitted to the receiver of the message, and the receiver of the message is also decode the message that you have, and it will be encoded, and the encoded message will be sent back to you. So that is the simple principle of the communication. But when we are in corporate communication, actually, we realize or not, we are doing the same thing. We try to design a communication, and the communication will be transmitted to the audience, and then the transmission will be selected depend on the channel of communication that you are selecting. And then, of course, we are going to use the stakeholder theory in corporate communication and tourism networking. Stakeholder theory is view of capitalism that stresses the interconnected relationship between a business and its customers, suppliers, employees, investors, communities, and other who have stake in organization. Okay, and then the theory argues that a firm should create a value of the stakeholders, not just shareholders. Yeah, we can see in 1984, Edward Freeman, we call it the guru of the corporate communication, originally detailed the stakeholder theory of organization, management, and business and ethic that address morals and value in managing organization. So when we are talking about the leadership, we are talking about how you can influence the stakeholders to engage your stakeholders and to bring them together, to work together with your company, and finally you are going to achieve together, and finally your company, the stakeholders are happy with what you are planning. And then what kind of leadership are you looking for when we are talking about corporate communication? You are talking about leadership communication. Leadership communication in business setting is the process through which corporate leader connect with and influence stakeholders. Well, ladies and gentlemen, effective information at the corporate business is the flow of strategic interaction that inform and influence corporate stakeholders relationship. So communication strategies are executed through engagement among team and individuals who understand and have a stake in their achievable outcome, reaching and enhancing stakeholders' interest and mutuality. So actually, when you are leading the communication, you would like to engage them, you would like to bring them together, and finally, you are enhancing stakeholders' interest and mutuality. When you can bring them on that level, and then your stakeholders will fully support your business, and you are going to achieve what you have been targeted. And then, what is the purpose of the communication leadership? The first one is you need to develop a positive business growth. Okay, so you are going to grow your business. So by developing leadership communication, you would like to achieve positive business growth. And then the next level is you would like to achieve positive external reputation. So the reputation or the identity of your company is very important. It's a pivotal for the success of your corporate, you know. And finally, you would like to achieve or you would like to create positive workplace culture. So how your internal stakeholders, they are happy, they all would like to work together, engage with you to reach the goal, the vision, and the mission of the company. Well, actually, how you can draw the energy from difficulty and forging ahead when there is a crisis in the communication. First of all, you have to bring all of the stakeholders in the reality. So what is the reality you are facing? In terms of the scientific philosophy, what kind of ontological phenomenon you are facing? So you have a reality that you need to share with your stakeholders. And then through that reality, we try to design a special plan, and then from that reality, we can see that there is hope in the future. For example, when we are talking about COVID-19 pandemic, so that is the reality. That, ontologically, it happened all over the world, all the globe. But then you are developing a special strategy and you are communicating all of the strategy to your stakeholders, and you are creating a hope. There is a light in the future, always a light in the side of the darkness. So you can engage your stakeholders to achieve what you are hoping to achieve in the future. And then when the reality and hope has been developed and there is a trust from the stakeholders that you are going to be able to rebound your business after the difficult situation, after the crisis. And then, of course, you are going to be able to inspire all of the stakeholders to work together. So inspiration is very important, because when a leader, when a corporate communication manager can inspire the stakeholders, they are going to engage and to work together. And then you need to develop shared value. Shared value, for example, when you are developing a communication strategy, it is not only for the company, but also for the individual achievement. So when you are developing a program, remember that program that you are developing having a shared value that bring benefit for the corporation and also bring benefit to the one who are working with you in your company. And of course, the next one is the shared credit. The shared credit, it means that your plan and your strategy will bring welfare for the stakeholders, and everybody will be affected and everybody is integrated and engaged. So you change from I into we. Not I who achieve, but we who are the achievers. So make sure that everybody feel engaged in the plan you have designed. And then when we are talking about networking, what is actually a networking theory? A networking theory simply defined as a concrete, measurable pattern of relationship among entities in a social space. Well, actually, when we are talking about networking, this is not originally for the social science, not for the business, but it was the terminology used in math and also terminology used in computing science. But then this terminology networking is adopted recently to describe the pattern of relationship among entities in social space. When we are talking about tourism networking, it's quite complex set of relationship and simplifying them, and so can be useful in promoting effective collaboration within destination group, spotting critical junctures in destination networks that cross functional, hierarchical, and geographic boundaries, and ensuring integration within group following strategic destination restructuring initiative. So when we are talking about tourism networking, it is a multifaceted because when we are talking about tourism, tourism can be seen from various angles. Even it could be seen from various angles of theory. Well, when we see about tourism interconnectedness, so we are talking about, for example, we have the customer, we have external public authorities, and we have also external representative, sometimes control the tourism development, and of course we have tourist companies and local authorities. All of those things actually in the same place. They are cohabiting each other, and sometimes they could be segregated, and because actually they are different entities, but in tourism they are engaged, it becomes parts of the tourism system. Well, I think you have ever seen or read the model developed by Jafaris. They call it tourism system. This tourism system is very complex. So one day I'm going to have a special presentation on this tourism system, because tourism system integrating several theory into tourism. For example, when we are talking about agricultural theory integrated with tourism, then we are going to have a new form of tourism. We call it tourism or agrotourism. And then when we have tourism integrated with marine, and then you are going to have marine tourism. And then also when we have tourism with the religion, and then sometimes we have pilgrimage tourism. So tourism could be integrated in any with any aspect of theory, or with any aspect of what we call course of life. So what I would like to say in this subject or in my presentation today is, I would like to remind you that corporate communication is actually consisting of several theories, and this is an amalgamation of theory. When we are talking about corporate communication and tourism networking, actually we are talking about several aspects of life, even sociology, psychology, law, everything could be integrated there. But when we have time to see each other, I think I'm going to explain it more detail, but I think this video will help you to understand a bit about what is actually corporate communication and tourism networking, and how corporate communication and tourism networking engaging several theories, and this amalgamation become a new creature, become a new scientific development that is called corporate communication and tourism networking. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all for today. So thank you very much for watching. Merci beaucoup. À tout à l'heure.